All right, we should be live once again for Fireside Chat. So again, apologies, I'm getting started late here, and for some reason, my mic was completely muted for that first try in Fireside Chat. I was streaming live, talking that whole time. Unfortunately, I don't know what caused that, which is a little bit more annoying because I fixed it somehow, and I have no idea how. But at least it is fixed now. So on the bright side, I've kind of got a good idea of what I want to say because I've already said it all. Ah, okay. I'm seeing the problem here. So I need to run OBS as a administrator, I believe, because with the new Discord update, if I'm not tabbed into OBS, then it's not detecting my mic. So that's fun. So, in the meantime, I'll just keep tabbed in here. So basically, we have the reaction rules, which are back, and or not back, but they're here for the first time. And run Discord as admin. Yeah, I think it's something like that, but maybe I'll restart Discord here and see if that does fix it. Okay. Seems to have fixed it for the time being. So, reaction roles are here. They've been for a little bit, but basically, you can react at the bottom of the rules channel to get those rules for any of the game roles, any of the players' roles, and we've also got another bot, Lohi, where you can look at your profile by typing L exclamation point your name. It is case sensitive, capital L, capital first letter of your name. But if you don't have one, then you need to put in a request for one, most importantly, so you can tell me which marks you need. And also, so you can request a border color and a background image all through the spreadsheet. Links to information on all that. There's a link to a request form and also a link to the marks channel, which tells you what every single mark is and has a picture of it. That's all in announcements, but you can also check out the marks channel for all that stuff too. And the bot shrine channel, where all bot stuff will go now, and that's also where you can look at your profile. In addition to things like checking your activity, there is a pinned message in that channel that shows you how to do anything with any of the bots as well. So that is all kind of a review, and it looks like okay, never mind. Thought it was working and it's not. Okay. Well, we'll just keep tabbed into OBS here. All right. Yeah. Okay. So I've got a list of kind of 10 upcoming changes here to WA. It was pointed out that this seems like it's a little bit uncertain, that it should be ironed out. The question marks in here are really just things that aren't 100% for certain, because this is a list I provided the all thing for discussing, as far as which changes we like, and people kind of chiming in for or against those things with a question mark, which you'll note there are two of them in, or no, three of them in the whole list. And the thinking was those are possibilities, and I don't think that they are particularly big ones either. So, yeah. But also, as you know, can be done in the end before releasing these changes, if we don't have a strong opinions from anybody about any of these particular things, I will usually just pick one. Or if there is a strong sentiment that, you know, for example, everyone likes Special Operations Forces better than Special Forces as a name, we'll go with that. But yeah, for the most part, most of this stuff is pretty well set in stone. I'm pretty much just waiting to see if anybody else wants to chime in with some real strong opinions on anything. But overall, I'm pretty excited about most of this stuff. So going through, number one, Reservist. And this list may have been posted in your platoon. If it hasn't been, well, your officers didn't feel like sharing it with you. And on the other hand, it's not a big deal because, like I said, this is kind of a working list. So the full changes will be announced anyway when they are 100% nailed down, which should be happening very soon. So yeah, going through number one is reservist. So reservist already exists. We're going to be expanding that to basically be a rank, essentially a permanent WA rank for anyone in good standing with the clan who is not disciplined or demoted beyond anything like that. That doesn't require things like roll call or monthly activity. Keeps you with access to virtually all the server, house roll, all that kind of stuff. There are a few things you miss out on. You don't get marks, you don't get a profile, you can't participate in Orders of the Iceer, which are probably going to be called Special Forces. And you can't participate in house traditions. You can't participate in stuff like Yorthing and Yarnhrith. And yeah, that's about it. Basically, in that vein, reservist is between recruit and marine as a rank. And let's see. Aside from that, we have... Yeah, so there's a lot of emphasis now on the rank of Marines. So basically, there is a brief quiz you pass to reach the rank of Marine, which is essentially, as a recruit, you have two paths you can go down. You can go to Reservist, which basically requires nothing of you. So you can recruit people into the clan and go to Reservist, and there you go. Or Marine is kind of stepping in to be a full-time, full-fledged member of WA. So it requires a little bit more. It requires the standard, some activity, the base requirement of which is either attending an event at least once a month or having some text and or voice activity. Generally, you would have both of those regardless if you're attending an event, but still, having both is a requirement for Gunner Plus for activity is the plan. And let's see. So, yeah, so you get promoted to Marine normally after a month. This quiz is essentially filling out a roll call because it's something that you'll do. And it is basically also helps people kind of understand what the roll call means because it breaks it down into each component and says what it is essentially. So it says who is your recruiter, what's your recruitment date, what's your house, what's your family, etc. And yeah, basically Marine would get that all done. There's no time limit. You can ask people. You can look everything up, of course. Basically, at some point, they have to get that information in. And part of that is picking a Norse name. So we're talking a bit about how we're going to roll that out. I think I like the idea from Solite chiefly that we basically... You do have to pick a Norse name to become Marine, but you don't necessarily have to adopt it. Part of that is because we're kind of rolling out this idea that when you become Marine, you're congratulated in Obsidian Hall. It's kind of a big deal. And also when you pick a Norse name, the same thing. So this would kind of bundle those two things together. So that's kind of an option. One thing we talked about previously is that people just don't have to pick a name at all. We alter the quiz so you don't have to pick a Norse name. And they pick it later, and then there's a separate announcement in Obsidian Hall when they do that. So I guess that is an option too, but those would, I think, be the two possibilities at least. So yeah, that's kind of the thinking there. Let's see. So we'd be getting rid of platoons, essentially, so the clan would basically just be one unit, but those platoons that want to would be converted to these orders or special forces. With the idea being those are just kind of clubs or special groups that people can make to kind of have their own shared culture and traditions and etc. to kind of carry over everything from platoons that people like, as in you can get your own text or voice channels. You might have your own traditions or history and stuff that you want to maintain. Yeah, I mean, just like people can maintain that history and friendships they've made and everything like that. So all that can be rolled over and carried over to these spec ops or special forces, etc. And yes, that's kind of the thinking there. I'm not sure if all 4 platoons are going to want to do that or not. I think some are already discussing it, so I encourage platoons, of course, as I've said already, to discuss that if they haven't already with some of their members. But I expect probably 3 to 4 of them will be doing that. So yeah, that's the plan there. Let's see. So with that in mind, we'll have one clan-wide roll call. I'll be monitored by a few officers, and also removing the RLE. Of course, there are still pretty strict rules on recruiting, and those are in the recruiting guide. But I'm probably going to go in and revise that laws and about WA mostly to fit with all these changes here. So we'll have that rolled out, and let's see. Activity already mentioned. We already have a one kind of freebie month. We're gonna keep that going, but I think, um, my I think I kind of like the 1 month freebie not as a hard and fast rule, but more as just something that's allowed because special circumstances come up a lot. Because there should be leave of absence, like you have a posted leave of absence if you leave, but sometimes that doesn't happen. So I think having that just not in the rules, but as a thing that you can do makes sense. I might put it in the rules as an informal thing that doesn't count all the time, but kind of at officer's discretion, they can do something like that. Is the thinking there. And let's see. Marks for passing the RLE and Marine quiz that I'm going to incorporate. So, of course, I'm ending the RLE here, but if you want those marks, you can pass that or the Marine quiz, because everyone currently Marine Plus won't have to take the quiz, but if they want to, they can get a mark, basically. So both those will be kept going, at least for the marks. I mean, RLE will probably just be run by me. I mean, I think I'll probably keep the RLE proctor role around for quite a while. So anybody who is a proctor could administer the RLE as well. But we will kind of be retiring that whole system. But of course, I'll have the files for it. So in theory, I could always administer the RLE, say, a year from now if somebody really wants the quiz. I would encourage people to take it sooner rather than later, though, because I don't know that I'm going to be keeping all of that around forever. But we'll see. And let's see. I think lastly would be Visual Book of Names. I've kind of gone out of order here, jumped around a bit, but they're kind of some interconnected stuff. So the idea here is to have kind of a cool graphic that looks like kind of an old tome where we record Norse names. And my plan was to start with by recording famous saints, Anagar, important members, stuff like that, and go through all current members who are Marine Plus and have those Norse names. So that's one other benefit of being becoming Marine Plus now rather than reservist, is being recorded in that. And as a side note, if anyone wants to step down to reservist, they can also do that anytime too. If people, for example, don't like roll call or activity requirements or whatever, they are welcome to do that. And yeah, so that's the plan. And basically, when you become a Marine, the idea is that your Norse name is recorded there in that book of names, essentially. So that's kind of the idea, and that's what I kind of lean towards. Is what I mentioned earlier would be basically when you become a Marine, you do have to pick a Norse name, and that is what's recorded there in the tome of names or book of names. But you don't necessarily have to have one. It would still be probably what it is right now, which is Master Chief Petty Officer Plus. Do have to wear that Norse name, essentially. So I think that covers everything. So yeah, I'll probably switch over here to office hours in a second, and hopefully restart OBS as administrator and see if that fixes this annoying problem again. Sorry for being late and all the technical difficulties here, but yeah, we'll be back for office hours in a second.